Hello everyone and welcome to this week's short video tutorial of a commentated game. Today we will be going over a game that was played in 1992. Red was Grandmaster Xu Yinchuan, Black was Master Xiong Xueyuan from Hubei province. Grandmaster Xu Yinchuan needs no introduction, and for people who are new to Xiangqi, if you would like to know more about him, please go to the link given below, where I've written a short article of a biography of the great living legend. The commentary was from Qiyi in a series of articles that they ran starting from 2007, I think. It was the top 50 brevities that they selected for over 50 years from 1956, ever since the first Chinese national individual Xiangqi championships. So without further ado, let us go to the game. Grandmaster Xu Yinchuan started with the central cannon, developing his right flank. Foul chariot, black did so okay. Screen horse defense, and red chose to play the third pawn advancement variation. Black would do the same, and this is a continuation whereby red would develop his left horse as an edge horse, and black would continue to push peon +1. Red would go for the 5-7 cannons, and black would go for the external rib horse. For those who do not know, the second and eighth file are collectively known as the external rib files, from its Chinese name Wai-Le. Red will continue to play R9 +1. So far so good. And in the past, H2 +1 was played, but nowadays E3 +5 or some other variations can be seen sometimes. So far so good. This will be the 5-7 cannons with third pawn advancement versus the screen house defense with third pawn advancement and external rib horse variation. Now the names are a little bit lengthy, but please bear with it. Now, as mentioned before, at this point in time, other commonly played variations will include P1 +1, E3 +5, E7 +5, etc. It will be impossible for me to go through everything in this very short video. This was what was played. Red will capture the pawn, and in this variation, black chose to continue with P1 +1. Now, because I do not want this video to be too long, so I will not go into the variations that are given here. Because this opening system is very, very complex and very complicated, and it's a little bit beyond my means. So please feel free to see the variations that are given in the comment section on the website. Red continued with R2 +6, which would be one of the older ways of playing this position for red. Nowadays, red would usually play R9 = 6 to get his chariot into the open. So again, red will enjoy a slight advantage. Now this variation for red is very popular with Xiangqi players because it would allow red to be able to control the situation more easily. However, the downside would be that the advantage that red would have would be slight and minimal. So after R2 +6, black would advance his chariot immediately to the riverbank with R1 +4, forcing the cannon to advance, and black would continue to attack and pursue this red chariot. To pursue the red cannon. The black chariot will be harassing the red cannon. Now, in the match, the Grandmaster chose to play scene 7 = 9. Now, this would be an attempt to attack the bottom rank. C7 = 3 would not be a good idea because of the edge horse here. The elephant would be a very vulnerable target, and black would be able to attack the red elephant to gain some momentum. So this would force the red horse back, and as can be seen, black will still have a very playable game. And Because the black elephant had moved, the red cannon would now not have any target to attack, and the efficiency of this cannon would be greatly decreased as compared to if we were to play c7 equals to 9. Master Xiong Xueyuan continued to play r3 equals to 4, trying to command this very important file. Now, the main idea was perhaps to prevent the red chariot from playing r9 equals to 6. However, e7, post-mortem analysis would have suggested that black should have consolidated his central file with e7 plus 5. So he need not fear r9 equals to 6, because once e7 plus 5 or a6 plus 5 were played, this chariot could only, perhaps the best spot would be to play, to advance across the river or to patrol the riverbank. Now, either way, black would have consolidated his defense, and the efficiency of this cannon would be greatly decreased. So r3 plus 4 was played in the game, and because black had commanded this file, red decided to develop his chariot on this to the 8th file. So red had already used that 1-2 moves just to position the chariot here. And black chose to attack the elephant. Now at this point in time, the red horse cannot retreat, or the black horse will capture the red chariot. So that was why red played c9 equals to 7, and the efficiency or the use of this cannon on the pawn rank can be now appreciated. And seeing that red had already played this move, black decided to play a very sound move with c3 equals to 4. Now, perhaps another viable option would be e7 plus 5, whereby black would still maintain pressure on this file. This variation was given in the in the book, and red would have an advantage. So that is why e7 plus 5 would not have been a good idea. So a6 plus 5 was played, consolidate the defense to prevent the cannon from capturing the advisor. And it was at this point in time that black became careless and played e7 plus 5 to consolidate his defense. Now this was a careless move, and instead a6 plus 5 should have been played, because black would still need the option of playing the central cannon if need be. So red, if a6 plus 5 were played, black would still be able to hold his own in this game, and it would be still too early to say who would have the distinct advantage. So that is why e7 plus 5 was not a good move, as will be seen later on in the match. And because e7 plus 5 was played, red immediately charged his horse to the river, threatening to capture the black chariot. And black played this move perhaps out of perhaps it was a reflex move, but it simply made things very bad, much more worse for black. And one could say that this move would actually mark the start of red's demise. Instead, r4 equals to 6 should have been played to prevent the red horse from crossing the river. So I trade off the cannons, and red would have more pawns, but black would still have a playable game. So that is why r4 equals to 6 would have been better. Instead, r4 plus 1 simply made things worse, and this would mark the beginning of the end for black. Red would simply charge his trailblazer horse across the river to trade for the central pawn, and thus gain a central pawn in the process. Check. And red decided to attack in this manner, despite the fact that there was a fork by the black chariot. So even though there was a fork, Grandmaster Xu Yinchuan, who was very young then, decided to play very aggressively by advancing the chariot to black's cannon rank. Now, what would happen if he tried to prevent the eventual chariot fork. Black will still go ahead, and because the black chariot on the bottom rank, the left black chariot will now be free and be able to command a very important line, while the cannons would simply be sufficient at the time being to launch a counterattack. So in the match, the Grandmaster played very aggressively, and Black continued to apply the pin, and Red decided to sacrifice the cannon. Now, what would happen if Black decided to capture the red cannon? Now, this variation was not given, and I ran the position through my computer, and it would seem that Red would still come up on top, because if Black tried to capture the black cannons, this would be a trade of material. If the black cannon captured the red chariot, the red chariot will capture the black cannon. It would be an immediate checkmate. So that was why the black cannon had to move and try to dislodge or protect this red file. So at this time, black would be prepared to play c4, c8 equals to 4. So the red chariot will move away. Check. And after adjusting the formation, Red would enjoy an advantage of about 400 points. So that was why, this is one of the reasons why Black did not choose to capture the red chariot. This was the only move given, and I ran the position through my computer. So because Black did not dare to capture the red cannon, he tried to develop his chariot to the red file, hoping that his linked cannons would hold the fort. But unfortunately, this is the point where this is the favorite part of the match for me. So how can Red increase his advantage? So let us see what the Grandmaster did. He played c8 equals to 7 to threaten for a checkmate with c7 plus 3, forcing the cannon away. Again, in the match, Black played e3 plus 1 to prevent the checkmate, and I ran this position through my computer, and it would seem that another option would be for Black to play r4 equals to 5 to prevent the checkmate. However, Red would still have a significant advantage. So in the match, e3 plus 1 was played to prevent the smothered cannon checkmate, and Red pounced on the opportunity to attack the bottom rank on this very empty right flank. Now at this point in time, Black decided to move his cannons to safety with c8 equals to 7, but after running through this move in my computer, it would seem that this was not a very wise move, because Red's advantage would dramatically increase to about 700 points, 600 or 700 points, whereas if Red had chose to play, or if Black had chose to play r6 plus 2, things would have still be okay. Red will enjoy an advantage of about 400 points, but the entire black defense would not fall off so rapidly. So now, after seeing that Black had played c8 equals to 7, we shall enjoy the maneuvering of the Grandmaster. So he advanced his cannon, using this cannon as a cannon mount to attack the black chariot. Now it seemed to be natural for black to move his chariot to safety, but when I ran through this position, a better move would have been for black to play r4 equals to 6 to sacrifice his chariot. Now this variation was it was from the computer, and at this point in time red would have an advantage about 850 points. So these were some of the moves. Check, and black would start destroying the material. So at this point there will be 2 black cannons, 1 chariot and 1 horse, versus 2 red chariots and 1 horse. In terms of the big major pieces, the material for both colors would be similar. However, black would lack an elephant and red would have more pawns, so the advantage was quite considerable at this point in time. And the positioning of this black horse will be a major issue for black, and black must try to conserve as much material as possible. So another elephant is lost, and these were the moves that were generated by the computer. And although black is attacking, red will be most likely to be able to fend off any black attacks, and the pawns will become a very determining factor later on in the game. Red would have a significant advantage. So that was why black would have fared better with r4 equals to 6. He would not have fallen so fast, but at least black could still have a playable game, as can be seen here. But by advancing the chariot as was played in the game, you can see that red played very cunningly with a check, and then moving the cannon back to the central file for the heaven and earth cannons. So now the red had moved his cannons 4 consecutive times, which is very rare in a match, and at this point in time black simply conceded. Now why did black resign? Because red was now prepared to capture the elephant, and because the black chariot had cramped or congested the palace, black would be ready to go for a smarter cannon checkmate. So the only way for black would be to sacrifice his chariot, and by this time red would have gained an advantage of about 1,450 points. So the advantage would be very clear and significant, and that was why black resigned. So I hope you've enjoyed this short video. The cream or the major important part of this game will be the way red maneuvered his cannons to gain the advantage in terms of position and material. So I hope you like the work that I'm doing. I'm still struggling to learn how to use to apply the timelines to the videos, and do give me some time and try to improve as I go on. Thank you.